And then we welcome everybody. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're at. Welcome to the very first Beer Bros Media Ask Me Anything. Today, we're starting out with Kyle Loucks. He is the founder and CEO of RollPros, the company behind the Blackbird, the machine that you see sitting behind him. Blackbird is the world's first automated pre-roll machine that actually rolls joints rather than filling them. Before we dive in, I want to thank everybody who's getting in here on the live stream to ask Kyle questions. We'd also like to thank everybody who's already submitted questions. We're going to go ahead and start with a couple of those questions for Kyle while we get this live filled up and we get some spontaneous questions going. We'll begin now with a brief self-introduction by Kyle, and then we'll get right into the questions. Kyle, thank you for joining us today and taking this time. Please give us a little bit of insight on your journey and RollPros journey, what got you here today.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. I'm blessed to be in the position I'm at because I have one of the greatest jobs in the world, I believe. And how I got here was pretty simple. You know, I've been smoking joints my whole life. It was definitely an integral part of my creative process as a mechanical engineer in several really big antiquated industries. And, you know, when I first saw how joints were being made on a commercial level, that really just didn't resonate with me. It wasn't up to my standards of what a joint should be. So really fueled me to, you know, get into the CAD, got into the garage, designed the first machine back in 2019. And in 2020, I was able to push out the first unit. And, you know, now we've got over 200 machines out in the wild, building brands. And, you know, it's all around fresh, high quality flower. So it's pretty easy to get people behind that.
And I love that. We've known you for a couple of years now. We love what you do. One of the things I love about you and RollPros in particular is something we're seeing more nowadays, where industries that were not involved in cannabis, and as cannabis has begun to evolve, we've now been able to take mainstream things and convert them. And that's really what you did, right? You were in other areas. Your passion was a good joint, and so now you took that expertise from somewhere else and you put it into cannabis. So I love the way this goes on.
Yeah, I do too. It kind of seems like serendipitous. Like when I look at each of my past roles, you know, like one of them, I was at HP and I was a paper path engineer, and that totally, you know, changed how I viewed we should, you know, introduce paper into our joint. Along with all the way up to, you know, when I worked at Meta and everything was all about getting data from the field units back and then making changes to your hardware as you're, you know, real time getting real user data. It's pretty awesome. I freaking love it. And like I said, it's almost serendipitous that I, you know, had all of these past experiences that really led me like right to this spot where I'm like, I have all the abilities to really help this industry and right where I want to help it because I love a good joint.
I love that. And honestly, that's perfect for cannabis because we're literally building the plane as we all fall out of the sky. So let's get into our first question that was submitted earlier this week. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice about starting RollPros, what would it be?
Oh man, that is such a tough question. I do, this is kind of ancillary, but I always tell people, I'm like, if I went back to my old self, my old 18-year-old self, like he would be so stoked at where I'm at. Like, I mean, oh my gosh, I'm using like my inventor, like my entrepreneur, like those things have been baked into me since I was, in elementary school. And just the fact that I'm able to like bring all that together in cannabis, which I'm really passionate about, he would be so stoked with me. And I think that's always a great perspective to have. Um, I think if I were to give him advice, I would say, just to not sweat don't sweat the small stuff enough or as much. I think that like because I'm a perfectionist, I really can like dive into these like really granular small things. And in the real sense of it, I need to be thinking bigger picture, and I need to be like, expanding on like, not every little detail. I need to hire people, good people that can look at the details and then just give them the right kind of oversight. So yeah, I think that's what I would tell myself.
And that is not only good role pros advice, that's good life advice. And I can just
Totally.
picture you in high school with having the coolest school project there is with what I've seen you do with that, with the role pro machine. All right. Question number 2. If you could have dinner with any inventor or
Mm.
engineer, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh man. I think I would have to go with Thomas Edison. Just, I have a ton of history of, like I do look up to like Steve Jobs. I think Elon Musk has done some cool stuff. But like Thomas was really way back in the day when they're still rubbing sticks together. And so he was a true visionary without resources, I mean, he had like books and so he was able to really innovate with very little kind of like stimulants or, like right now I can just jump on the internet and I can search around and kind of get a lot of inspiration. Like I watch How It's Made. I watch it all the time and I see little things. I'm like, oh, that's super cool. Like maybe I can enter that into the packaging machine or or something like that. But he had nothing. He's like seriously like riding a horse around and so I would love to pick his brain and just be like, dude, like how did you do all this?
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah, he'd be my guy, I
Well,
think.
no, Thomas Edison is probably who I expected you to answer, and what a great, and it's a very good point as well. All right, moving on. From your perspective, what's the biggest misconception that people have about automated pre-roll machines?
Mm. Oh, I think the biggest is assuming that you have to lower your quality of product in order to automate. Like I think there's a huge misconception there where people are like, well, I have to dry my flour out. I have to pulverize it because we got to fill this cone and how else can we do that, right? And yeah, that is, I think that people should be demanding that you have both, right? Like automation with quality. And this goes with all the industries too. I mean, I was talking to a founder that was making like a vodka soda, and he was telling me about how all these big co-manufacturers just like throw everything in a vat and it like really messes up the flavor profile. And so he had this little like kind of like custom mechanism that helped introduce all of these flavors. And I totally sympathized with him because I'm like, yeah, it seems like everybody's just like, no, you gotta pulverize your weed, you gotta dry it out. Like that's the only way to make a pre-roll at scale. But just know that there's people out there that want a higher quality joint and they want scale and they want consistency. And scale and consistency that's what automation should bring, and you should never sacrifice quality.
Yeah, well, you've already got me at over drying and pulverizing. I don't want any of that either.
Yeah, I heard I had a good friend that just got into a cone machine and they said that they have to keep the room at a relative humidity of 20%, which is horrible. It actually like that's like harmful to your operator now because you're more likely to catch virus. It's like it's yeah. So Yeah, you don't got to do that no more.
Well, freshness that we were just talking about plays right into the next question that we have from our friend Kat. She's all about infused joints. What is the most
Mm.
effective way to dial that in? There's so many challenges to it. How do you handle it at Roll Pros?
So yeah, I love a good bubble hash infused joint. I'm all about solventless. I've seen people do BHO and terpene slurry mixes. I think that my number one thing I'm always pushing is make sure you have a homogenized blend. So if you can get a good mix, and there's tons of things out there. There's centrifuges, there's popcorn tumblers. There's a lot of different ways to infuse your flour, but you just want to make sure it's a nice even blend. Because if you're trying to do like 50-50 BHO, like your flour's not going to accept all of that. You're going to be leaking oil over everything. So I think that's my advice is like make sure it's a very homogenized blend and go with smaller batches, do like a QP at a time where you mix it up and then introduce it to the machine. Because you really, you want consistency, and I think that's the number one way to do
Yeah.
it.
And I would really think, and now that I'm starting to think about it, and by the way, the questions we're getting in are about joints in general, which is cool because you must be a master at this. You've studied them extensively. I like my infused joints. I like to use crumble. And I
Mm.
think that would be really good with your machine because A, it's not sticky. It's already into smaller pieces that are somewhat homogenized. So I would really love to see somebody using your machine to make some crumble infused joints.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. I've had some crumble joints, and the flavor that comes off of crumble when it is heated up, man, you like if you make an infused joint right, you can really like triple the natural terpenes that you're gonna get from that joint. And I think that's ultimately what it's all about is getting that flavor profile with the added THC index and really making for a great experience.
Excellent, excellent. Our next question is coming from Alexander. Keep on the outside of your pre-roll. Is it a waste? Why do you? Well, we'll do. It looks like a two-part question. So keep on the outside of your pre-roll. Is it a waste?
Um, that's a great question. I don't have a ton of experience. I know I have some customers that are painting joints and doing the outside infusion. I think that what I don't like about it is you usually have to use some type of glue to like adhere it to the paper. I know some people can use oil, but that has mixed results. Um, I think that you'll probably get some extra THC from it. But the question is that worth the added like mess that you could potentially have? Um, so yeah, I think that I don't know. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, no, I think it did. It's your opinion on it. It's really an
Yeah.
opinion thing, quite honestly. I don't know if anybody
Okay.
has a definitive answer for does it make sense? I would imagine you're getting more THC, right? Because it is burning.
Yeah.
And I see them quite a bit. For me, they're just messy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Totally. I know. It just seems like, yeah, they're hard to make too.
And
There's not a great way to automate that. I
yeah.
haven't seen a good one yet. And
So
so
there
it's
was a question too. You don't need to put that one back up, right? There was a question about infused papers, and I know that the way you guys make your paper is on point, on purpose to save packaging. It comes on a roll rather than individually cut. And so I don't know if this would necessarily refer to your machine, but I really think if we could find a way to put infused papers through your machine, that would be super cool. I've seen them in the past. I think he mentioned Doc Greens. I know that oh, I just had a brain fart. Who's our friends that have infused papers? Anyway, what do you feel about infused papers?
I mean, I'm for infused papers if it's, still like a natural infused product, right? Like solventless. I'm on the solventless train. And yeah, I mean, I think that that would be a great way. I've thought about different ways to infuse on the machine, and whether or not, you drop a little log onto the flower pile, or, I kind of like the idea of like, finding a way to like wipe onto the paper before it gets rolled in.
Yes.
because now you've got it's on the inside of the paper. I like that. Um, so yeah, I think I'm for infusing the paper. I mean, yeah, Alexander, reach out. Let's brainstorm on
Let's
that.
talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
All right. So here's a good one, a nice personal one that somebody sent in earlier. How do you talk to your kids about working in cannabis? And at what
Mm.
age would you start talking to your kids about working in the cannabis space?
Oh man, it's such a tough one because I mean, my parents are from Kansas, they've got deep kind of hesitations about the plant. I talk to my kids like it's medicine. So I'm a big proponent of like nutraceuticals, plant medicine, and I really think that, we have a lot of problems in the healthcare industry, and I think that if we can find a way to blend kind of like Eastern medicine with modern Western medicine, like we could really start to unlock some serious problems with our health in this country and world. And so I try to bend it towards that where it's like, look, this is a medicine, and I try to teach them about other medicines, like turmeric or ginger or like everything that we put in our body is medicine in one form or another. And I think that it's good to start teaching our kids that is
Yeah.
just like, you got to take your vitamins. It looks like a pill, but look, it actually comes from plants. Like there's things in here that are plant-based, and then talking about how cannabis is one of the most advanced plants in helping us because we have the endocannabinoid system. And um, yeah, I think, yeah, my kids are, oh my gosh, they're gonna watch this video for sure. They might be on here,
I, I love that. I absolutely love that. The ironic part is my son's behind the scenes helping us
Yeah.
take care of this live video we're doing. And so for me, I'm older than you. So my generation was, unless you were literally in a situation where your family was cultivating cannabis, I think I'm pretty normal in this. Most people didn't bring up cannabis with their kids until their kids brought up cannabis with them. They either
Mm.
got caught with it or, something like that, or they were found out. I know that's how it worked with my children. I didn't speak to my children about cannabis. We were on the East Coast, and it wasn't something you talked about, 20 years ago like that. But the moment I knew that my son had some weed, I started having talks. I figured that was the right time. So, excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
A question. Elliot Friedman has a question for Kyle. Just like your rolling machine, some trimming machines have become more automated and efficient today, incorporating AI, for example, the
Mm.
Marvel by Carrier and Twister Technologies. Have you trialed your technology, such as the Blackbird, with the Marvel side by side? Further, are you able to show how AI will affect your future products?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, gosh, AI is helping everywhere, right? I think that, yeah, if we could have some sort of like a Marvel type camera system where, it's literally like watching the operator prepare the flour. That would be phenomenal. Right now we're kind of beholden to the almighty SOP, you know, which I still, I got a whole background on SOPs, and I tend to say like you got to have them, but better to just give your operator the context of what they're trying to achieve. Because we sell SOP, or well, we give away SOPs for how to run the machine. And you teach the operator that once or twice. We have these fancy jigs to help them characterize their flour, but then they just end up, in internalizing that, and then they just can go by feel. They can do a clump test and be like, oh, this is going to be great. This has got good water activity, and we're gonna crush this material and make some great joints. um I don't know if you can replace a human like with that side of it, like, the feel test. But we can definitely use some data processing where it's like, maybe it's pulling from like a moisture meter or pulling from the curing room that you have the flour in, and it's able to make these determinations. Um, yeah, I definitely think that there's ways that AI can help us that we just haven't even unlocked yet. Um,
I,
yeah.
I would totally agree with you. And as far as SOPs go, my opinion is SOPs are a starting point. You
Mhm.
cannot you cannot underestimate that human feeling. And I would imagine that you give people an SOP, and as the operator works it, they have real world knowledge. They might relay back to you that then updates your SOP. So my opinion would be it's a constantly evolving thing. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah. And it's yeah, and it that's where it's like that's where the human dynamic comes in, right? And it's like and that's we always say like, find a good operator because they're gonna really make your life easy or hard. And they gotta know how to roll a good joint on their own. But yeah, and like, there's different ways that we can enable our customers to getting here, well, let me 1 second, let me
Yeah, no,
share
go
some of the
ahead. Perfect.
tools.
That's what this is for. We want live
Yeah.
interaction. We want you to show us stuff.
Yeah, okay. So this is direct feedback from our customers. So this is our Shakealizer. So what
Okay.
this does, this like you put a sample of the flour in that you're gonna run, and it'll show you what the particle distribution is. So
Okay.
big, medium, slightly smaller, and then really small. And so this was a direct feedback because I've seen some flour that just has keef falling off it. This like lemon cherry gelato that we got into once like had so much keef on it. And so what we ended up doing was we created this device. So now when you run into a strain like that, you will know prior, and so you can better adjust for it on the machine.
Yeah, I love that. That's perfect. And I
Yeah.
love that you pulled that out because when we were there, you showed me a machine that absolutely blew my mind, which is why I know that you're very much into your joints and how they hit. You tell people about the machine you created that actually measures the flow so you can tell how your joints are going to burn.
Totally. I love this machine. This is the draw check.
I
So,
love it.
yeah, this is the only machine that I know about that you'll take a joint, you put it up to this little suction cup when it's plugged into air, and it'll give you a reading of the exact vacuum drop that occurs across it. And this, I trained a lot of operators, and I was like, you just do a little dry pull, right? Like make sure it feels like the right pull, but you can't do that everywhere, and not everybody knows like
Yep.
what the perfect pull is. And so what this does is it allows the user to roll a joint, do a quick draw check on it, and then make some, real-time adjustments on the machine
Yep.
and correct the course, and really it's all about creating the best joint possible, and that tool has definitely changed the game in
Yeah.
that.
Well, I'm so glad we actually get to put this out to people because we've been to your place. It's like Willy Wonka for joints, and I absolutely love it. You're literally creating machinery that doesn't exist to give your consumer a better experience and your client. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, next question. Today's technology is truly impressive, and to see such innovative machinery become a huge game changer into the way cannabis is manufactured is honestly super impressive. However, how do you respond to those that have worked in cannabis production and find it to be heartbreaking and almost intimidating to see that one day? Perhaps soon they will be able to replace the machine will replace them. What kind of opportunities do you think production employees have in store for them?
I really see it as a way to level up your skill set. So I think that I've seen these people like stuffing joints and twisting and weighing, and it's just not that's not a great work environment. And I think that there's better uses for the human intelligence, right? Like our and so I'm more about like let's train these operators or these people stuffing cones, train them on a piece of equipment that 10x's, 20x's their potential. I mean, it's the same as like the bicycle, right? Like without a bike, you can only run what, like 10, 15 miles? but on a bike you can go 300. And
Yep.
so it's like, would we just scrap the whole bike because, because not everybody can ride it? I think that I think that this is a tool for us to advance our potential. And the operators that we train on this, they level up. And you know what? Their next job that they might be able to get, it might be at like a wafer company, or it might be at, IBM or Facebook. Like, we're giving people like real skills that they'll be able to go into another industry and be like, "Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
can basically understand any machine now, and I can make it run to its full potential." And I think those are the people that are gonna win if AI, keeps, going. It's like, dude, we still need people to make
Yeah.
stuff. Like, this is like, AI is not gonna replace the Blackbird operator. I'll
Yeah.
guarantee
Well, actually, you know
that.
what I'm hearing about AI is we're gonna have to hire a lot more electricians to do the physical work because the AI pulls so much power. So we are going to create blue collar jobs with AI. But I also love the fact that and I understand the person's point. They say there's 20 people in a room. Now you turn it down to 2 or 3 people that run a couple shifts. I get that. But we also went from horses to cars, right? And so humans are going to evolve. And yes, some people are going to lose some jobs along the way. But hopefully what they do, like you said, is they get knowledge from where they're at and then they up themselves. Okay. So I love that. Question from Duxton. Do you work with education at all? As in, are you teaching any of the automation technology to the next generation that might be taking cannabis courses somewhere? Is it part of any curriculum yet? That's a great question.
Oh man, I've talked about that for so long, like getting into Oaksterdam or the Gangier courses. And I'm working with James Loud. He's doing some training sessions, so I'm gonna start stepping into some of that. Um, I haven't. Like, I've just been focused on training my customers. And we have this new initiative where we're trying to start training bud tenders too on, like, what a good joint is and how to discover it and how to sell it. So, the short answer is no, I'm not right now. But look for it in the near future. And if you have ideas too, I mean, you guys can reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, I'm all over the place. So I'm definitely interested in starting to train up the next generation in all fields of automation.
Well, I love that. We just found another lane for you. You got more work to do now.
Yeah.
So I don't. It's probably the original behind you, but what are some of the biggest challenges you faced when you created the XXL compared with the Blackbird? And now maybe give a brief explanation of what the XXL is because we didn't talk about that yet.
Yeah, so the XXL it's the next size up in the machine. So it does blunts. So this is a blunt off of the XXL machine. There were quite a few learnings. One was around the hemp wrap itself. So hemp wrap it's a lot stiffer, so it's harder to get that adhesion on the gum line. Um, and then the other thing was this label right here. There was quite a few learnings in how to make sure that that feeds and adheres, so that there's no air leaks, because you can get an air leak there if you don't have proper adhesion. Um, so yeah, other than that, I mean, the rolling side of it was pretty similar to the Blackbird. That's why we called it the XXL and not, the Grey Goose, or, any any fun new names. It was like, well, this is just a bigger Blackbird.
No.
And you can still run like rice paper on it. So, if you don't want like all that extra, the hemp wrap, you can run all the different variables that you want to run to make whatever SKU you want.
And how much material can you fit in an individual roll on the XXL?
Yeah, so the XXL, we're kind of conservatively saying 2.5 grams. But you can get up to 3 grams. I've seen it before. If you have like really dense flower and you infuse it, like you can get a huge joint, which is like, it's really exciting. It puts smiles on the faces of, guys like you and me that have been smoking for a long time. You're like, man, I just want this like big old like blunt to pass around with my friends. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or just hang on to it because you can do things with it and it doesn't burn out. So we went to your launch of it, which was super cool. And if
Yeah.
people watching don't know, the way the machine works is it actually rolls 2 joints into one, and on the way out, it cuts it. So you end up with your tips on each side and it cuts it in the middle. Now you have 2 joints from one roll. Super cool. But what we did when we were there is we played with it. We only put 1 tip in and we didn't cut it. And so we had these blunts that were like 8 inches long. It was really cool. So the machine is versatile too.
Yeah, actually, by those standards, you can get up to like a 5 or 6 gram joint, and yeah, it'd be this like big old like kind of Dr. Seuss looking joint.
They were fun, and trust me, they didn't get finished. Everybody just kept being like, I'm done. Here, somebody take this thing. Next question from Dallas. How do you maintain a culture of innovation in such a rapidly evolving and highly regulated space like cannabis manufacturing?
Oh man, well, it starts at the top, I mean, I'm actually probably too much into innovating and brainstorming. I mean, somebody brings anything to me and I'm like, "Oh, how can we do that better?" And they're like, "Kyle, we just need an answer," like. So I think I kind of overdo it on that. And that's where like I have some really good managers around me that are like, hold on, Kyle, we gotta bring you back down here. No, we're not gonna, totally scrap the whole production line. But yeah, I think it starts at the top, and it starts like with a very open and listening ear. I think that I've really built this culture here where you can come to me with anything, like, and that's really where like true creativity starts, is when you aren't under a timeline, there's no deadlines, and you don't have any fear behind approaching your manager or your colleague. And so I've been really really big on like, e- be humble, listen to everybody, because I have several experiences where I had a manager that just would kind of berate me or, be dogging me on timelines, and it just like killed my creative process. And so, yeah, it starts at the top, and I think it starts with having very open conversations, and yeah, just kind of eliminating that like fear of management, which I think is something that's going to die in this generation. Because guess what? We're all millennials now, and we're running the companies now, and we care about people. We know people are what build companies. It's not that was another huge learning for me. My God, I thought building a company was just like building a machine, like you got these different parts and they all fit together, and like, yeah, you got accounting, you got production, you got engineering, customer service, and they all just work. But man, it is so not that in the company world. Everybody's amorphous, everybody's organic, things are changing, emotions drive everything. And that was a huge unlock for me when I realized this is not a structured thing. Like, we're all here and we all got to work together. And when I had that kind of like mind shift, I was really able to unlock the true potential of my workforce and my employees, which are all great. You guys, anybody that wants to come in and visit me too, like, you'll see it. Like, everybody's having a good time, and you know what? We crush it too. We get shit done, and
Well,
it's
no, I love that. And
it's
again,
awesome.
more life lessons, not just role pros. And you know what? You're 100% right. We will vouch for you. We have been there multiple times. People might not know this. You're in an old post office, which
Yeah.
makes it even cooler, right?
Yeah.
So, and we were there. Everybody was working together. It wasn't this traditional sit in a row type stuff. Everybody was doing different things. You literally are walking the walk. So I love to hear that from you. We'll go right into this one from that, a previous question we got. RollPros has grown a lot in the last few years. What has been the most surprising or rewarding part of that journey for you personally?
Oh my gosh. I mean, obviously my customers like and their brand's growing, like that there's nothing like it's one thing to like build a machine and sell it, like that there's a lot of validation there like, oh man, but when you see your customers growing their brand based on, the quality of product they're putting out, which is directly related to the machine, so much so that they come to me and being like, I would have lost the farm if I didn't find this machine. Like, there is a level, like, I got goosebumps right
Yeah.
now. Like, there's a level of validation there that is beyond anything you can imagine. Um, and yeah, I'm getting choked up just thinking about it.
No,
'Cause
and listen,
yeah,
that's that proud papa moment. I got goosebumps too. You're not wrong.
yeah.
When you realize that what your passion does is enable other people to succeed, there's very few things in life that are more rewarding than that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I do. I totally agree. And it's like, some of my oldest customers they're my like lifelong friends now. And, like when I go down and visit them, like, we're eating with families together and and it just like really warms my heart to be like, I'm helping him provide for his family, for his employees. And like, if there was a spider web for like all of the impact that I've had on this community and other communities too, like my sheet metal guy, he's doubled in size, and my machinist, he's gotten way more work from me, and he's hired more people, bought more machines.
Yep.
It's so cool and so validating that yeah, you just want to keep going. You want that circle of impact to be bigger and bigger, and like so. Yeah,
You
it's
need more of
definitely a
those good
feeling.
feels. And you're right.
Yeah,
Listen, when your passion fuels something that you're helping people with, the downstream points, and you might not ever even know all of the downstream points, but you do recognize that once it gets just a few pieces down, it's really, really out there. So I love that answer. From Kat, controversial question. Warning, controversial question. What do you think about ASTM D37, including filled cones under the term pre-roll?
ah, it's funny. I think I'm on that. I just got added to that council with Darwin. Um, I actually don't love the term pre-roll. I mean, I think that what we sell are joints.
Okay.
Because I think that the pre-roll is that's around like the cone, right? The cone was pre-rolled and then you're filling it from the top. So I'm kind of like, yeah, that's not really what we're doing. And the whole notion that we're pre-rolling cones by the millions overseas by hand and then shipping them across the world is kind of erroneous and like crazy to me anyways. So um I'd prefer to be in my own lane and just say, you know what, we roll joints. Pre-rolls, I've said it before, pre-rolls suck. And yeah, it's like
Well, and what? Honestly, you're not pre-rolling. You're rolling a joint. All of the pieces are coming together at one time, just like they do on my rolling tray. Okay.
yeah,
With a pre-roll, like you
exactly.
said, you're taking something that's already been created and putting it somewhere, and then bringing it in later and filling it. So it's not. I see what you mean. So
Yeah, yeah. So no hard feelings on the ASTM guys.
no,
Like,
different strokes for different folks, right? There's a
yeah,
place for everything, is how I look at it.
right.
Thomas Buckley, Kyle, automation focuses on precision and consistency, but the culture of rolling has always been rooted in human ritual. How do you see the automation evolving to maintain that same emotional connection for consumers while scaling
Ooh.
production? What do you aspire for these individuals to learn going from more physical labor to automation that will advance their careers? We spoke about that a little bit, but you can
Ooh.
elaborate more.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's funny. I still hand roll joints at home. Like I've got like a fleet of machines. I got a machine in the garage, it's like, but there is something nostalgic about rolling my own joint. So, and I like to keep those skills fresh.
Yep.
Just in case, I'm, stuck somewhere with Marshawn or, Snoop and I gotta show my skills, right? Um, but really, what the machine does it better than I do. Like that was the whole thing was like I wanted to create a machine that rolled a joint better than me. And I did that. Like I think that the joints that come off this machine are way more consistent. I still, mine can have little, be pregnant or be like a little lopsided and they'll, sometimes they'll run a little bit. But really like how I designed the machine and how, my team has continued to innovate on the machine is like we're making a better joint than I can even hand
Yeah.
roll. And so really my answer to that is what I used to do and I still do for myself is like I go to the store and I buy flour and then I roll it at home. But now that I know I have customers that are rolling high quality flour into joints, I can just go to the store and buy a pack of joints. And that's like, and those joints are going to be better than the ones that I can roll at home. And that's the thing that like I really want for this industry is like, I want everything you get at the store to be better than what you can get from your old plug or, like
Yeah.
I really want that for us.
Well, and you're not wrong because I've been rolling joints, my Lord, I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud, for 40 years. And I could probably tell you that not one of those joints has ever been exactly the same as the next in 40 years. And so when you're talking about scalability and retail availability, you've got to get consistency. And I will say that what you've done with that machine is completely made it consistent. 100%. The settings are all set. The run you're making is going to be exactly the same. And that's impressive. Here's one that came in earlier. It's kind of a funny one. If RollPros had a mascot, what would it be and why?
Oh, you know what? We did this. This was one of the crazy like tangents. So and we actually might introduce this, talk about AI and everything. We created this little guy and his name is Doobie. But he kind of looks like Clippy from, the old Windows.
I love
And
this
so
already.
I know, yeah. And so I want to have this little like doobie guy that's, he's got bloodshot eyes and like he's kind of like got a chill manner. But I want him to be in the corner of the machine. And so it's like, hey, like if you got to ask Doobie a question, you just click on him, or if he's like, hey, man, you gotta, you ran out of weed, dude. You gotta fill up your hopper, right? Like,
I love it. You guys, you absolutely have to do that. That is
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
Question from Patrick. Do you have a favorite strain? And do you have an
Mm.
all-time favorite strain? So I guess what's your favorite strain now and what's your favorite strain forever?
I've got one that I like that I can get from the store typically, and that's Point Break. It's kind of funny. It's, as strains come and go, I think I see less and less of it. And then my brother has a strain he calls Jesus Juice. And I mean, that's a really good strain. It has a very unique terpene profile. Um, but I think I'm pretty open. Like if you talk to my wife or my family, they'll always tell you that I'm the one at the restaurant ordering like, the ahi tuna or like, if it's got octopus in it, like I'm always trying new stuff. So, it's hard to get me on a consistent strain for sure. I'm always like tempted to be like, oh, I'll go try this. I Durban, like Poison has got I freaking love the nose on it. So I'm kind of craving that these days. Um, but yeah, I definitely am like, variety is the spice of life, and I'm always trying new stuff.
I'm just going to throw a question in my own head out there. Is there do strains matter when it comes to your machine, or is it more about the grind and the moisture content?
There's a lot of adjustments on the machine for the different strains. So, um, yeah, it'll run anything, but you want to make sure it has good moisture content because essentially that's going to affect how it smokes, right? So, more of like what I'm saying you should have in your flower is more for the end experience. And then the machine is just designed to adapt to those different strains and just make sure you have a consistent quality product.
Excellent. Another question here from Lou. What is your dream brand or celebrity you would like to work with? Who do you want to work with?
Gosh, that's
You
a
dropped
tough one
Marshawn and
too.
Snoop. They both have their
I
own
know.
lines already, so we need to get some Roll Pros in their facilities.
I do. I totally agree. I think, yeah, Marshawn, I met him at a Hall of Flowers and like I really like him and his team and that dude is just like he's a rad guy and I grew up watching him. Turns out we're the same age, it's funny.
I just saw him. He just launched his brand with Originals being the people doing the cultivation behind him and his strains out of the brand he started in Oakland. So super cool. I just saw him a couple weekends ago at Originals.
Yeah, I really like his crew and I like those guys a lot. Ricky Williams, I met him too. That guy, like, talk about doing something for your soul and, not for the money. Like he's got my vote, if he ever runs for presidency. And so
He is one of
uh
the most down to earth people you will meet. Not even celebrity people. I just mean people in general. We've met him many times. Always been super nice, super humble, great to talk to.
yeah, yeah, I think I mean, just anybody that's like really like had huge sacrifices for the plant. I'm 100% behind them, and I'll get them a machine, and we'll be good partners. But yeah, anybody that has like a passion for the flower, anybody is really
Nice.
like those are my guys.
All right. Let me see. Oh, what is one piece of technology that you think is underrated or underappreciated?
Oh man, in like all of the world. Oh,
The question isn't
uh,
specific to cannabis, but we
okay.
could tilt it toward that. It's up to you.
Uh, okay, I'm gonna go with um like the laser engraver.
Okay.
So this is my prototyping world coming out, but so I do a lot of work with 3D printers, right? Like for making something into the physical world that you can kind of like get your hands on and test. I don't put anything that's 3D printed on the machine because it's all production, but for iterating through design, I really like 3D printers and I was able to kind of next level my prototyping with this laser engraver that I got. And what it does is it cuts acrylic sheets so quick. Like it'll cut out a piece of acrylic in 30 seconds. And then I'm able to take that acrylic, take it to like a little hot wire, and I can bend it just like sheet metal, which is like I think sheet metal is a great prototyping form and it's great for production. But that machine, that laser engraver that we've got here has really opened up our prototyping potential. And so I think it's underrated because I don't ever hear about it. I don't see it in like engineering schools, and I kind of discovered it in my engineering path. And yeah, it's totally underrated. Everybody needs one of these things.
And like we said, we're building the plane on the way falling out of the sky. So being able to create something in your own shop that would lead you to the point of actual production for it, I'm sure is very valuable.
Totally.
Sarah, let's go with Sarah's question. What personal principles drive your leadership and how have they shaped RollPro's mission and growth?
Oh man, gosh, I have these written down. I think a primary one is like stay curious. So be inquisitive rather than just a blank advocate for something. Um, Another one is, treat everybody with respect. Everybody has a different background. Everybody's got different demons that they're fighting, so it doesn't matter. Like, they might present themselves in a way that is displeasing, but have respect and have tolerance for everybody. And that, that goes down to like anybody, right? Like, whoever's the admin at the hospital that can't get your stuff, like, just be nice to everyone. Like, come on, we're all in this together.
Yep.
Um, and then the other one is just execute, execute, execute. Like, just do it, like, just get in there, make mistakes, um, feel uncomfortable, just do it, because you're gonna feel better afterwards, and there might be some like awkward positions you get yourself in, but just do it, I think there's probably a few more, but those are kind of like my favorites.
Well, no, and again, I love it. Not only advice for your business, but it's life advice for your personal life. And I think that's why we get along so well. That's why I like you, because we're very similar in all those aspects.
Yeah.
Well, here's what we're going to do. I have a feeling we could probably do this for another 45 minutes or an hour, but we're not going to do that. So I appreciate your time today. I want to tell everybody who did tune in and did give us questions, we highly appreciate you. This is going to be a series you're going to see moving forward. We were very happy and honored to have Kyle jump on for our first one. And thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. And thanks for everybody that tuned in. The same. All right. Well, we'll be here next time.
Everybody have a good day.